You're listening to Thursday Night Tailgate with Chris Mascaro and Bob Lazari, where NFL legends live on. Back to you, boys.
Hand me the lot.
All right, now joining us on the Kyvan Foods guest line is Hall of Fame linebacker Mike Singletary. Let me give you a little bit of background on Mike. He is from Houston, Texas. Played his college ball at Baylor, where he was named All-American his junior and senior seasons of 1979 and 80. He was also named the Southwest Conference Player of the Year both of those years. He averaged 15 tackles per game and established a team record 232 tackles in 1978, including 35 tackles, Bob, in a game against the University of Houston. In 1980, he helped Baylor to a 10-2 record and a berth in the Cotton Bowl. It was Baylor's first 10-win season ever. He was a second-round draft pick, the 38th overall selection in 1981 by the Chicago Bears, played in the league from 81 to 1992, all in Chicago. Over the course of his career, he was named to the Pro Bowl 10 times, twice given the Brian Piccolo Award, which was given annually to the Bears player who best exemplified the courage, loyalty, and teamwork and sense of humor of the former Bears running back. He was named the NFL's Man of the Year in 1990 for the work he does in the community. He was named the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year twice in 85 and 88 and named to the NFL's All-Decade Team for the 1980s. He was a leader of the Bears in 1985 when they made their Super Bowl championship run. He's been coaching in the league since 2003 with the Ravens, 49ers, Vikings, and Rams. He's been inducted into both the College Football and Pro Football Hall of Fames, and we are honored that he is with us tonight here on Thursday Night Tailgate. Hey, Mike, Chris, and Bob, thanks for coming on the show.
Welcome, Mike.
Hello, how you doing?
Oh, fantastic.
Great.
Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great.
So, Mike, first of all, I wanted to start by, checking in on you and your family, being a guy from the Houston, Texas area. Talk about, is everything okay? Everything good with you and your family?
Well, fortunately, everything is good. I've got some sisters down there and a ton of cousins and uncles and aunts. And so thankfully, everything is good. And we just continue to pray and wish everyone well.
And, Mike, as a guy who made so many tackles over the course of your playing days, how are you feeling now? Are you concerned at all about what life could be like for you down the road, for, you and your teammates?
No, not really. I think that I've been very fortunate and, strive to do everything as well as I possibly could. I tried to take care of myself as well as I could and stayed on my knees and make sure I thank the Lord for my health and the opportunity to play this game. So I'm feeling I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling great.
And, Mike, our mutual friend Gay Culverhouse said you might be doing some work with respect to concussions. Is there a project that you're working on that you can share and talk about?
Well, I am. I think one of the things that I always look at is, what can I do to really make a difference in that whole arena. I mean, there are so many negative vibes that have come from conversations about concussion, CTE, and all of those things. And I'm working with a group called Diagnostics, and we are really focused on trying to create an apparatus or a device that can really give you a reading on if a kid gets a concussion during the game, can come to the sideline, and we can take a picture of the brain and be able to measure certain markers and be able to kind of tell you what level of concussion it is. And I think, we're continuing to work on that. We're kind of in the final stages of it. Probably in another 2 or 3 weeks, it should be finished. But it's been quite a process to get it developed. But we're excited about it.
So, Mike, let's talk a little bit about some happier memories. And as a kid from Houston, talk about your decision to play your college ball at Baylor. I have to imagine everybody in the Southwest Conference, all those colleges were after you, plus probably some others from around the country. Why Baylor?
Well, it's pretty funny that you say that. When I was coming out of Worthing, my senior high school, Baylor was actually the only Division I school that offered me a scholarship.
Wow.
To play linebacker. The University of Texas offered me a scholarship only if I would play fullback. And so needless to say, I turned that down as quick as I could. And I went to Baylor. But it was a very easy decision. And I think after I had committed to Baylor, I had Oklahoma come really late after everything was done and wanted to talk to me, but I told them I was going to Baylor. We didn't really need to talk. But basically, Baylor was the only school that offered me the opportunity at Division I to play linebacker.
Bob, questions for Mike?
It's an honor to speak with you, Mike, and I just have such a great respect for the whole Soldier Field and Bear legacy, and you were such a great part of it. And for a guy that grew up in Texas, Mike, and went to college there, how was the transition to a cold climate like that? When we think of Soldier Field in the winter, Mike, it's nothing like Texas. Tell us about Soldier Field in the middle of December.
Well, I tell you what, let me tell you about Soldier Field in April. I remember when I got drafted and went up to Chicago for the press conference afterwards, and it was snowing in April when I got drafted. I could not believe it. I'm like, what in the world is this? I feel like I'm in another country. Needless to say, when I got there, and of course, really at about November or right around the last of October, it starts to snow. And my first year there, I about froze to death. I could not imagine playing in that weather, but thankfully you get to playing and the adrenaline, and adrenaline is an amazing chemical. And I tell you, I wish there was a way for them to package it up. It'd make a lot of money.
And Mike, Chris knows that my favorite football player of all time was Walter Payton, and I know it was such an honor for you to play with each other. Not only was he just an incredibly talented guy, was probably the hardest working football player, I'm sure you'll agree. But to be a teammate of his, I'm sure you can talk all day about him, but I'm sure when he passed away and everything, it must have been very rough on you.
It was. It really was. I think Walter and I had a really interesting relationship. We did not really cross paths a lot during our career. Every now and then we'd get together and sit down and talk, and he handled his business and I handled mine. And I think one day after he had retired, and of course I had retired, and he came by the house, and we just lived about 2 miles from each other. And he came by and said, Mike, I just found out the other day I got cancer, and I'd like to know if you would come by the house and start reading the Bible to me. And I said I would love to do that, and I did that until the day he passed away.
Mike, I want to talk to you about playing for Coach Ditka. He comes along in your second year in the league. Curious, what do you remember about the first time he addressed the team?
The first time he addressed the team, I was so excited. I didn't know who he was, but some of the older guys certainly knew who he was. As man, Coach Ditka, this guy's crazy. We don't want this guy. And I was thinking, this is exactly what we need. But when I heard him speak the first time, I felt like I was listening to Vince Lombardi or George Halas, Newt Rodney, some of those guys. I just thought, wow, he was full of fire and full of passion. And I was so excited to get someone in Chicago like that, because that's exactly the kind of fire we needed in order to get us where we needed to go. And there were a lot of guys just thinking, this guy is not going to be right for our team. We're a veteran team. We don't do things like that around here, and we don't need all that rah-rah. Well, I tell you what, they weren't there very long. Those guys it was like a revolving door. We had guys going out that really didn't buy in and really didn't believe in what we were trying to do, and what Coach Ditka was trying to do, trying to bring back the passion of the Bears, and the kind of monsters of the Midway mentality. And not a lot of guys really bought into that. And like I said, they weren't there very long. And Coach Ditka began to bring in guys that were willing to work hard, were willing to get out there and pay the price. And a lot of guys like Payton who were willing to really put everything on the line and hated losing and those kinds of things. And as we got more and more of those guys, we began to really just look like another team, and just a whole different bloodline was going through our veins, and got us to where we needed to go.
And Mike, you guys advanced to the NFC Championship Game in 1984. Came up a little short against the 49ers that year. But how much did that loss fuel your resolve heading into the 85 season?
I remember at the end of that game standing on top of the bench, screaming at the top of my voice that we'll be back next year. And on the plane going back to Chicago, I'll never forget just walking around the plane, and everybody was just kind of talking to each other, and we had tasted something that it was it was something that we were so young as a team that we were excited to be a part of the playoff. We were excited to be in the championship game, but we wanted to go to the Super Bowl and win it. So we really began talking on the plane ride back about what we needed to do in order to get there, what we were going to focus on all off season, and just really talked amongst ourselves and really had a fire that lasted all the way to the Super Bowl the following year. We were so fired up and we were so excited, and we knew that we had something special. So with having Walter and McMahon and Dan Hampton and Otis Wilson and Richard Dent, so many really just outstanding quality players that really hated to lose. We had something very special, and we knew it.
Bob, more for Mike?
And what always impressed me, Mike, is after the age of 30, your last 5 years in the league, you never missed a game. And we know playing in Chicago and in that division and the way you approach the game with the intensity, you had to be playing hurt a lot. And that's something, Mike, you really can't teach players, but it is part of the NFL game these days.
Well, I think you're exactly right. It is. I think one of the best things that, you talked about Walter Payton early on. One of the best things that I learned about him was how to take care of myself. Really, really being willing to put in the work. And so the off season, I started two-a-days really early. I took about a couple of weeks off and started working. And then after by the time April rolled around or the mid-March, I was in two-a-days. And a lot of the guys said, Mike, that's crazy. I mean, that makes no sense at all. But I know that's what Walter was doing. And I really loved his work ethic. And there were a couple of guys that I worked with in Houston when I'd go back to Houston. And Darryl Green, who had a 20-year career, and then Charlie Joyner, who had a 20-year career, and Earl Campbell for a few years worked out with us, and then he started doing something else. But the three of us worked together in Houston, and those three guys were, along with Walter, really my benchmark in terms of how to work and how long to work and how hard to work. So it really made a difference in my career.
And Mike, to have gone out by the age of 35, you were done. But did you go out on your own terms? Did you feel like you could still continue playing? What was your main reason for leaving the Bears at that point?
Well, quite honestly, one of the things that I started thinking maybe about age 32, maybe my 10th year in the league, I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to retire because I love this game. I'm playing at a high level, and I could play this game forever. I mean, I love this game. I love everything about it. And so I sat down and really thought about what should be the determining factor as to when I should retire and get out of the game. And as I thought about it and prayed about it, I came up with the thought of, you know what, when I'm not willing to do the work in the off season that prepares me for the work during the season, then I think it's time for me to walk away from the game. So in my 11th year, the trainer that I had, I told him every year, I want you to turn it up. And so we were working out in my basement in the 11th year, and I just felt this is not fun anymore. I can see that I have enough energy, enough to be excited after after one more year, and I think I'm done. So I went upstairs and I told my wife, I said, we got one more year, and that's it. And I told the organization as soon as I figured that out. And they said, Mike, don't do that. Don't say that. I said, no. I know this is it. They said, but you're still planning how, I ended up going to the Pro Bowl my last year. And I had several teams call me and say, well, why are you retiring? I said, well, because I'm not willing to put in the work that I had before. And I'm not going to cheat the game. I'm not going to cheat myself. And I don't want to get hurt because I know what it takes. So that's how I came to that decision.
Mike, before we let you go, let our listeners know, how can they stay up to date with all the things that you're doing now, whether it's online or over social media?
Well, not a whole lot of social media stuff. I would say, right now the biggest thing that I'm doing is preparing to coach again. As we come to the end of this season, I don't know where, but I'm very excited and ready to do that. So just keep their ears and eyes open, and we'll figure it out.
Well, Mike, so many things Bob and I would love to get your insights and thoughts on. We hope you'll come back and join us again sometime, because it's been a true pleasure and an honor for us to get to spend some time with you tonight.
Well, I thank you very much, sir.
All right.
Good night, Mike.
Take care, Mike. All the best to you and your family.
God bless. Take care. All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
You. That is Hall of Fame linebacker Mike Singletary. Wow, Bob, that's some great stuff. And to think that of how talented a player he was. Only one D1 school, Baylor, was the only school to offer him a scholarship to play linebacker. Seems mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, if not one of the great linebackers of our time, and was not even a first-round draft pick, Chris. But you look at his stats, Chris, and his resume. 1 year, one team, his entire career. And I was thinking of this while we talked to him and the way he talked about Payton, Chris. In the years of you following football, or just knowing historically, do you know of any team that had a better offensive and defensive player on the team at the same time as like the Bears did with Payton and Singletary? I have not come across it. Probably, the more I think about it, don't ever think I've seen a better offensive and defensive player on the same team.
No, that's a great point, Bob. And what a great player. Mike Singletary was, the intensity that he had and everything that he accomplished both at the college level and the pro level. And we certainly wish him a lot of luck getting back into the league as a coach, because the league could certainly use more coaches like Mike Singletary. All right, when Bob and I come back, we'll be turning on our Thursday night tailgate spotlight on the positive. Hear which players are doing great things in their communities, and then we'll wrap up the show. We'll do that all on the other side of these words about our friends over at Kyvan Foods and the Salt Creek Golf Retreat.
This is Reggie Kelly, former Cincinnati Bengals and Atlanta Falcon tight end, and I'm the owner of Kyvan Foods. And if you enjoy delicious food, you're going to love my Kyvan products, which consist of our honey apple salsa, sweet barbecue sauce, and an array of seasonings. For store locations, online orders, and recipes, check out our website at www.kyvan82.com. That's KYVAN 82.com. One taste, and you'll appreciate the goodness.
If you're looking for a great place for your annual golf outing, a weekend golf getaway, or just a round of golf with your buddies, then Salt Creek Golf Retreat is just what you're looking for. Centrally located in Nashville, Indiana, just south of Indianapolis and west of Cincinnati. This challenging but fair 18-hole golf course appeals to all skill levels, and its scenic views of rolling hills and tree-lined fairways are sure to make golfing memories for years to come. Owned and operated by former Purdue and New York Giants fullback Randy Manier, Salt Creek Golf Retreat offers stay-and-play packages that include golf and a fully furnished 1- or 2-bedroom condo. After your rounds, be sure to stop by the 19th Hole Sports Bar and Restaurant for great food, fun, and drinks. Randy and his staff will treat you like family. For more information, log on to saltcreekgolf.com. That's saltcreekgolf.com. Or give them a call at 812-558-5944. Salt Creek Golf Retreat. Start making your golfing memories today.
Thursday Night Tailgate, where the spotlight is always on the positive. Tune in Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time to hear your favorite NFL legends, players, and coaches sharing their stories. Now back to Chris and Bob.
I wouldn't joke about anything else that happens here tonight.